Hi, everybody. You have different hair back there now. You had blonde hair yesterday, yes? Yes. Welcome. Welcome. Hi. Amazing. I love it. Everyone's just kind of like vibing in their chairs, a little spread out. We're comfy. Hi over here, representing my right if I'm facing this way, and far over here to the left, I've got Mama Lou over here. My mom is actually here. Yeah, hanging out. So, hi, Sunday crew. How we doing? Amazing. Thanks for coming to hang out and listen to what I have to say and what you have to say for the next however many minutes we're here. Thanks for being here. How you guys doing? Awesome. I'm great. I'm good. I'm really good. I really love doing these conventions because I'm a geek. I am a nerd, proudly. I love all the, superhero stuff, and you've got Spider-Man on. Yeah, man. Start climbing the walls soon. Be cool. Yesterday I was in here. I guess it's I'm doing solo today, right?
You are solo today.
Wow.
But I will run around if anyone has questions and give them the mic.
Fabulous. Yeah, I was here with Emily, and we started the day, the chat with a reenactment where I was a rhubarb pie, and we had Sam and Dean. You played Dean, right?
Yeah, I played Dean.
You played Dean brilliantly. It was fun. And then we got into it, man. We got into it. Was anybody? You were here yesterday. You were here. Who else was here yesterday by chance? Okay. Yeah. It moved everywhere. It moved all over the place. Even got a little feisty at times. It was great. It was fabulous, right? So I love talking about everything. It doesn't have to be about this, that, or the other. Let's get into it. So throughout this little hangout, if you have questions, raise your hand, and I'm happy to answer anything. If you've got burning questions, We
have burning questions over here.
Burning questions.
Who wants to go first?
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
What's your favorite character that you've played?
Favorite character that I played? Great question. I have many different ones for different reasons because they all bring out something entirely different. I love Supernatural. I love playing Ash. Once the mullet goes on, I become somebody else. And that has its own experience being on the set with Jared and Jensen, and it has its own thing. And then, of course, the Fast and the Furious is its own thing, right? Its own experience in driving these cars and not knowing what was going to happen, what was about to happen, is quite thrilling. But then I've played one of my favorite as an actor. I like to push boundaries myself. And I was in a remake of an old, notorious horror movie called I Spit on Your Grave. Who here has seen that out of curiosity? You have. Did you see the remake? Did you see the remake? Okay, all right. So nobody here has seen it. That's probably it's a good thing. No, I Spit in Your Grave. Now, a lot of you are probably going to look it up now after this. It's an old, notorious movie that came out in the 70s. It was a revenge movie. And Roger Ebert called it one of the most disgusting, vile movies of all time. So, of course, when somebody says that, what's going to happen? You're all going to go watch it, right? And it became this hit. I had never heard of it, and then I got the audition, and it was called Day of the Woman. And it's a really messed up. I'll let you do the reading about it, and you can. It's a very controversial movie, and And then once I got cast, I was like, oh wow, this is this. And we did the remake, and it was a great movie. It's a horror movie. It's not for everybody, I'll say that. But if you're into the horror genre, or even just something that pushes boundaries, give it a go. I did bring Mom to the premiere. Yeah, and my ex-girlfriend. And if you see the movie, you're gonna be like, oh my God, wow, it's really something. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't have a favorite. I look at it just in terms of like the experience and how you view it, right? And how people see my work or the movie or the TV show through your eyes. So yeah, right on. Thank you. Did you have a question too?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
How was working with Vin Diesel?
How was working with Vin Diesel? Great, amazing. Because for me, when we shot that movie, nobody was famous. He wasn't Vin Diesel. He had done a couple movies. Paul Walker had done a couple of movies. I had done a movie. And it was just kind of a pure time and its own thing in the summer of, 2000, was it, Mom, that I shot that? I think, because it came out in 2001. And, yeah, like we were all incredibly young 20 years ago. And, something to be said about just an original time. So we were all very cool to each other and knew what we had, but also didn't know what we had. So there wasn't this expectation. There wasn't 8 sequels to worry about. It was just something that nobody had done yet. And the director, Rob Cohen, had heard about this underground car scene that was happening and decided to go out to some of these races. And once he went out there and saw the scene, got into a few of these cars, he just saw this movie in his head and talked to, however it went down. Universal was looking to do this movie, and it happened. Certainly didn't expect it at all. It was, we had an amazing time shooting. Yeah, it was just fun, but I was also very young, so it's hard to understand what you've got when you start making movies, 19, 20, 21 years old. So yeah, I have not seen Vin since that. I haven't seen any of them since, and that's kind of how it goes. Yeah. Yo, man.
Hello. Were any of your lines in the Fast and Furious ad-libbed, particularly the praying to the car gods scene?
I appreciate that. Were any of my lines ad-libbed? Yes. Not the prayer. That was kind of written out. Yeah, that was written out. But yeah, I added a few little tidbits. When Paul drives the car in the first race, and he overdoes it, right? And he pulls back in, and everyone's like, oh, that scene. He pulls up, and I say, was that fun? That was ad-libbed. I just threw that in there. There's several others, but I'll tell you, the lines for me, like overnight parts from Japan, that line, which is now an infamous line, of course. Yeah, so at the time, I remember saying, and as actors, sometimes I'm not crazy about what's written, or I don't know how to, make it fly like it should, or sometimes it just feels a little dry. And we were doing the scene, and Rob, the director, goes, "Come on, Chad, put a little spice on it." And that's exactly how he sounded and what he said. And so I guess I did what ended up being in the movie was overnight parts from Japan. And thought nothing of it, and I was like, oh man, like you kind of double think it a little bit, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have like said it that way. And then lo and behold, it becomes like people are like repeating my lines to me over and over and over again, and I'm like, huh, this is quite something. What's up, man? Come on in. Yeah, man. Just checking out the scene. Yeah, what's your name? Vaughn? That's kind of close to Vin. Everybody say hi to Vaughn. What's up, man? So yeah, the lines, you just never know. So there are a couple others. If I think of them, I'll say something. Yeah. Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys. Great questions today. Appreciate
We have a
it.
question over here.
Yeah, I talked to you downstairs
Yeah,
about
man.
movies.
Alan, right?
Yes.
What's up, dude?
Hey, I forget, what was the name of the movie you said, because I forgot to write it down, and I have another question after that.
I Spit in Your Grave.
Okay.
Is that the one that I was just talking about?
Oh, you were saying about your favorite movie downstairs.
My favorite movie.
We were talking about 80s movies.
Oh, 80s movies. Oh, I told you to watch Tango and Cash.
Okay.
Yes.
And my second question is, what type of music do you like? Do you normally like the 80s movies or 80s?
80s music?
Yes.
Like what am I listening to right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love 80s music. Can't go wrong. I was born in '76, so the 80s for me, I mean, that's when I grew up. So that will always be, and same with 90s music, That's when I was in high school, running around like I thought I knew what was going on. Man, if something's good, I will listen to it. I don't really have any sort of like favorite music, I guess. I love Prince, can't go wrong with some Prince. But yeah, I kind of listen to a little bit of everything. I'm not big into metal. That's something that just doesn't work with me. But that's about it. Yeah. What kind of music do you like? The 80s stuff, yeah. Yeah, right on. Nice, dude. Nice, yeah. For me, and in high school, before I became an actor, it was soundtracks. Like I would just listen to soundtracks all the time. Going to school, have the soundtrack on. Always about soundtracks. Anyway, right on, man. Thank you. Yeah, guys.
Right over here, Sam.
Yo, how are you? Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks.
So, a big thing with the Fast and Furious movies, especially the first movies, is the cars. So my question is, what was it like being around like all the cars? Because they were pretty cool.
Yeah, what was it being like being around the cars?
Yeah, like did you drive? Like did you actually get to film the races?
Sure. In my opinion, the cars are the real stars in the movie, right? We were just kind of like decorated around the cars doing our bit. The cars have become synonymous now. Like if you see one of these cars or a replica, you know exactly what it's from, right? But at the time, they would make a couple different cars. Like if like the Eclipse, they blew that one up. So they had like a couple others that they had to like, make, right? But all these cars were on loan out. They actually got these from real people that had these cars. And mine, they just kind of like threw them with the people that thought, like would work. Like obviously mine was the white Jetta. And I fell in love with it right away. But the last thing that the studio wants is for actors to actually get behind the wheel of these cars. So we barely drove them at all. And when you do see like the race, that was all a picture car. They were hauling me on a semi, and it wasn't the real Jetta.
Did you want to drive?
No. No, I'm too afraid. Anytime you have to like do any of these movie cars, it's terrifying, actually. I don't want to ruin it, right? And we have to think about a million things. Like, in the end of the movie where I come screeching in, I had to hit a mark. You have to like pull in just right because you've got all the cameras, you've got the people, you've got the crew, you got to worry about safety. So for me, I'm like, no, I'm good. Let the stunt person do that. Yeah. Fun fact, Michelle Rodriguez didn't even have her license at the time. Yes, yeah, she was from New York, she didn't need one. And then, so that was kind of funny, right? Shooting the car movie. So, thank you. Right. Yet. Yeah, man. A little bit. I wasn't great at it, to be honest. And the joke is, with my dad, before he became a police officer, he just retired. He was a mechanic, and so he said, guy's guy, I guess, and I'm not. I've got nail polish, you know what I mean? But the joke is, that I don't know much about cars, to be honest, And it's funny, a lot of people come up to me, and they're like, I got a F1765, they go down the list, and I'm like, right on, man, cool. Like, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's quite funny. So I'm not the mechanic, but I ended up playing one, and but I have a deeper appreciation now, obviously, for cars and how they work. But I will take my car to the shop. Yeah. Thanks, brother. Hey guys, how you guys holding up? Spider-Man. Yes. Peter Parker, please.
What's going on?
What's up, bud?
So which acting role was your favorite, and which one would you want to go back to? Like, if you could play that role again,
great question.
What would you do?
What would I go back and do? I would love to... Supernatural. Yes, of course. Yeah, disappointed that didn't happen, it would have been great to see that mullet come alive one more time. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And it would have been fun to see them take Ash out on the road and do some fights, so you can see the hair whip around, you know what I mean? That would have been cool. And then Jesse would be great. Would be great to go back to Fast and Furious and sort of have them come full circle. But Hollywood loves to kill me. They do it. That's what they do. I die in just about everything. When I book a new role, the first question is, do I die? Yes. And the answer is usually yes. Yes, I do. Yes. Or I get close to it, or I get the crap beat out of me. Oh, yeah, it happens. Man, yeah, I would choose those two, I think, to go back to if I had to, or if I could, I should say. Yeah. And who knows what they're going to do with 10, I'm sure they'll kill Dom or something. You have to. Come on. Somebody's got to go down. Yeah, you've run out of ideas. It's funny, man.
I'm not sure where else they could go. I don't know if you've seen 9.
I have seen 9. I've seen 9. Yeah, they're going. Oh, I'm not going to spoil it. But it's gone boldly. Yeah. They agree.
Yeah, I think space is the next place that they need to go. Racing on Mars.
I think they actually went to space. But
not to another planet yet.
Oh, another planet. Oh,
yeah.
Man, why not? I think somewhere I read that they were thinking of doing a crossover with dinosaurs and the Fast and the Furious. Yeah, Jurassic Park and the Fast and the Furious. I'm actually in. I'd be like, all right, how are you going to do that? I mean, why not at this point? Yeah, exactly. Why not? I'd watch that.
These velociraptors are all about family.
Exactly. Family. Yeah, man. Yeah, good stuff. What's going on, Altoona? Yeah.
Oh, we have a question over here.
Yeah, man.
Hi.
What's up, bud?
Just want to know what it was that made you decide to get into acting. Was it like a movie you saw, or maybe a play you did in high school or something like that?
I appreciate that. What made me decide to get into acting, I guess since a young age, I've always been goofing around in front of the camera and whatnot. And then in high school, I started doing plays. And I actually, a friend of mine at the time said, "Hey man, you should audition for a play." And I said to him, "I'm not really into that." Funny how that ended up being my life. And so I auditioned, and I got a small part in Guys and Dolls, you know, it's a school play, exactly. And I thought, this is amazing, and just found my home in high school theater, and did many plays after that. And I knew, this is what I'm good at. I'm not a very athletic person, you know, I don't play football, but acting is what I could do. And at the time, Jim Caviezel is also from my hometown. He played Jesus in Passion of the Christ, and he had got cast in Wyatt Earp years ago. And it was in the paper, and I remember reading that, and I was like, I could do this too. I could do this. And I'm from Seattle area, small town near Seattle called Mount Vernon. And then I tell people, you can do whatever you want, and there's no rules to it. I looked at the classified ads in our small hometown newspaper. That's what I started to think about. That's crazy. Like, what was I thinking? Before the internet, all of these things. And there was an ad, and it said, Kid Biz. Kid Biz, you know, seeking talent in Seattle. So I called them up and said, "Hey, I'm Chad. I want to come audition." They were like, "Come on in." So Mom, of course, drove me down because I was like 15, I think, you know. And so I auditioned for the Kid Biz, and they took me right away. And then the next day, they sent me an audition for a movie called Born to be Wild. Actually, no. They sent me an audition for a movie called Katie. And it ended up being a movie called Born to be Wild. And it was to play a burger boss. So I went in, it was 2 lines, and at the time, NYPD Blue was a big hit, and David Caruso was on the show, and that's when it was like in its heyday. And I just went in and emulated a fast food manager as like David Caruso. I was like, hey. And it worked, and I got the call, and I actually got the part, and it was a big Warner Brothers movie that happened to be in Seattle, and you can watch this movie, you can find it out there. It's about a kid and a gorilla that befriend each other. I know one of you in here has to have seen this movie a long time ago. It's in there somewhere, but you can look it up, and that's where I started, man. And then from there, I did a few things in Seattle, like Bill Nye the Science Guy. That was pretty cool. And then got an audition for an independent that was filming in Seattle, and they were looking for their 4th lead, and they had cast everybody out of LA, and they had kind of cast this character, but they were still looking, and they gave me a shot to audition. And I ended up booking it, and just a no-name kid from Mount Vernon, Washington, and they ended up giving me a shot. And then from there, I met an agent who came up there and saw me and brought me to a really nice agency into LA, and I moved there when I was 19, and I've been there ever since. So that's kind of how I started. And yeah, it's been a long journey, and it's been really cool to have been a part of some really amazing projects that resonate with people, or certain characters that mean something to people. So I thank every single one of you for that. You know, like, you're the reason I'm standing here. So thanks. Yeah. Word.
So that movie was Black Circle Boys, your
yes,
second one?
Black Circle Boys. Yeah, which is out there somewhere. You can find it. And that was that was the beginning of my, spoiler alert, it's been since '97, I believe. We can talk about it. I die in that one. Violently, I must say. Yeah, I got the crap beat out of me. But yeah, and that's what started it all for me. And then I went to LA, and within 2 months, I booked Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was also the continuation of my death career, you know. And then, thank you. Man, they're awesome over there. They get us. And then from there, I kept working, and very lucky. Shortly after Buffy, I did ER, which was one of my favorite shows, one of Mom's favorite shows. I got to work with George Clooney, back when he became George Clooney, and he was doing Batman at the time, and it was all very surreal. I got to flip him off on national television, which was pretty cool. But if you ever get a chance to check out ER, there's a couple episodes that are just like awesome and it'll make you cry for sure. I think I still watch it and actually would tear up. It's really a great episode. And kept going. X-Files, I think, was short after that. If anybody here watches X-Files or watched X-Files, October Sky was right after that. That was my big first studio movie. And then,
How about
other
the
things followed.
How about The Velocity of Gary?
The Velocity of Gary. Was that a random pick?
I'm just looking, in your timeline.
Just curious, because it's
not rated highly. I'm just,
Right. No, I enjoyed this movie. With Vincent D'Onofrio, Thomas Jane, Salma Hayek. I played a character named Kid Joey, who believed that she was Patsy Cline, and probably one of my favorite characters that I've done. And it was very early on, and stepping way out of the bounds, and pushing boundaries. And so I learned a lot from, watching Vincent D'Onofrio, who is an incredible actor, Salma Hayek, who's lovely. That's as you mentioned, it's got a low rating, but sometimes you can't worry about that. I think a movie, if it resonates with you. I think fondly of that one. What else you got?
How about The White River Kid?
The White River Kid, another sort of random independence that no one heard of, but actually because it's one of my favorites because for a lot of reasons. It's the first time I got to work with Antonio Banderas, who's one of my favorite all-time people that I've ever gotten to work with. Antonio, we've done a couple of movies together, so I got to meet Antonio and work with him, and then I met Wes Bentley, who ended up being a great friend of mine for a lot of years, who was in American Beauty and whatnot, and we just had fun. It was just a good time. So, yeah.
How about A Midsummer Night's Rave?
A Midsummer Night's Rave. Oh, you're pulling out the randoms. I like it. A Midsummer Night's Rave was A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is a Shakespeare play, at a rave, basically. And it is exactly what it sounds like, A Midsummer Night's Rave. All these characters go to a rave. And if you're familiar with the play, I play the guy who ends up turning into a donkey. But it's because in this one he ended up doing too much ecstasy and ends up believing or thinking he turned into a donkey. So, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
All right.
We have burning questions, or we can hang out and talk about.
If anyone has questions,
yeah,
awesome.
hi. Hello.
I mean, we have more IMDb stuff in case we run out, but.
What's one movie you think everybody needs to see?
Great question. That I've done? Well, whatever. Well, as far as what I've done, and I think thank you, you've got your family here. October Sky. October Sky. If you haven't seen October Sky, it's a wonderful family movie that everybody can watch. They actually show it in science classes, I believe in high schools a lot now, or they have been. You're shaking. Yeah, right. It's a true story about Homer Hickam, who, when he was young, he and his friends built rockets, and they became like a small-town sensation. And then he ended up going to work for NASA and becoming a huge person at NASA. Anyway, Jake Gyllenhaal is the star. It's wonderful. Also, I would suggest The Rookie. It's a great family movie, baseball movie. Also another true story about Jim Morris, and he was a high school coach in Texas, and he was much older, and he made it, or his team, he tried to get his team to win the championships or the, whatever they're competing in, and they said, okay, well, if we win the championship, you have to try out for the major leagues for pitching, because he was really good. So they won, and he had to hold his the bargain. He had to hold up his end, and so he went and tried out for the majors and ended up pitching for the majors for quite some time. Jimmy Morris. So Dennis Quaid plays the coach. A great family movie for family night. Yeah, I would suggest those two. Man, and others some of my favorite movies are E.T. Right? E.T. No?
No, you can't go wrong.
Are there
with
any
E.T.
other E.T. fans?
E.T. is awesome.
Yes,
Come
thank
on.
you. All right, good.
Give it up for E.T. Come on.
Yeah, give it up. Thank you, guys. Yeah, that's what I grew up watching. That was that movie moved me so much, so profoundly. As a kid, I remember Mom and Dad had to take me out of the back of the theater because I was crying so much at the end. I was like, no, I was wrecked. When E.T. went home, I was wrecked. I know, guys, think the things you learn.
There's a sequel
E.T.
novel. There's a sequel novel if you want to read it.
No.
There is.
There's a sequel.
Just in novel form, but yes.
Oh, a novel form. All right, that's all right.
Okay.
That's all right.
It wasn't that
Imagine if they tried to do another one. I'd be like, that would be it. I'd quit acting entirely. I'd go live far away. Nobody can find me ever again. That's how strongly I feel about it. What's that?
He's putting a tracking device on you so they can find you.
Oh, I appreciate that. You're good looking out. He's like, no, we got to keep an eye on Chad. We can't let him just go looking for E.T. Oh yeah, I left out, the Reese's Pieces and everything when I was a kid. E.T. never showed up, guys. E.T. never showed up. I don't know. What are we gonna do about it?
Do you have another question?
Some of your faces looking at me like I'm nuts.
Didn't go.
It's true. What's that?
I have another question.
No, please go for it.
Okay, so you.
Okay.
So I actually did not know that you were a guest on ER.
Oh yeah.
Now Noah Wiley is on ER. Did you get to work with him? No, I haven't seen it.
No, yeah, Noah Wiley was on ER. No, I didn't. I think I maybe passed him in one of those corridors, and he gave me the nod, But it was a pretty heavy episode. I played a kid who was dying of cystic fibrosis, and was on was about to die, and my mom had to come in and sign a waiver, and yeah, it was a very emotional episode. It's good. It's good. Yeah. Hi.
I can't use my hands. I'm sorry.
No worries.
2 questions.
Yeah.
Do you know who your nail polish is by and the shade? Because I think it's a really cool shade, and you're killing the shade.
Wait, one more time.
Polish. Your nail polish.
Yes.
Do you know what it is?
I don't know the proper shade for it. I've been telling people it's like a mermaid blue.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's one of my faves right now.
Yeah, it looks really good. In
Thank you so much.
Also, I just wanted to ask, you mentioned Fast and Furious as one of your first films, and it's been brought up a bunch of times in this panel, and I imagine at your other conventions you go to. I just wanted to ask what it's like to have one of your first films be something people keep talking about to you about 20 years later.
So I'm sorry, they're very excited over there. So what you're asking is, what's it like 20 years later to be a part of something like that? Sure. It's pretty unbelievable, and it's pretty surreal. It's one of those things to give you an idea of my mindset when the movie came out. Mom asked if if I wanted a premiere in our hometown of Mount Vernon, which was small. And over the phone, I said this to her. I said, "Mom, no one's ever going to see this movie." Exactly. And I didn't understand. And we went to the premiere, and it wasn't until we went out to eat after I'd come home and we'd gone out with family to watch the movie. And as soon as the movie was all over, I got mauled inside of the theater, and I was like, oh my God. And then we went to the restaurant nearby, and I got mauled there. And I was like, this is no BS. Like, this is real. And a lot of people think it's very exciting and thrilling, and it can be. But when that initial fame hits, man, it's very overwhelming. So it rocked me for a little bit, right? And it still does, in a sense, and it should, because fame's not a normal thing. And then, of course, they've med a gazillion sequels, right? So it's like, usually movies come and go, and they have their shelf life, but this one's had, almost 10 sequels, right? And the movie is just as popular today as it ever has been. So it's pretty cool, and it's reached nostalgic level. Like, there's a lot of you in here that grew up watching the movies, and you can say that, and I'm still like, and I was just talking to Mom about that. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm that guy to be the guy who you grew up watching, right? I'll be 45 in 2 weeks. It's crazy to say, but I don't feel that, So it's like, for me, it just felt like yesterday. And I tell you what, I mean, I can't go anywhere in the world without people saying, Jesse, and that's pretty special. You know what I mean? Like, everybody, even if you don't like it, even if it's boring to you, even if you don't care, you have probably seen that movie replayed somewhere on USA or whatever they got going on, or HBO, So it's pop culture now. And I've been doing a lot of car shows recently. Follow me on Instagram if you're not, because I post a lot of dates of upcoming car shows. I also do a lot of ghost hunts and stuff like that. That's my other profession that I do. Exactly, that's some fun stuff, right? But I do car shows. So if you want to come out and be a part of the real Fast and Furious world, definitely check out Import Face Off. So I'll be doing a lot of those. But to get to my point, when people come out and they see the car, and it's like, it's nostalgic right now. So to be a part of that, it's pretty cool. Yeah, thanks for your question. What's up, man?
What's up? All right, so since you were working with the Fast franchise, did you come to appreciate a certain car company, and do you have any type of car collection?
I got you. Hey, can I close this door? Yeah, can I do it? I got to do it. Yeah. That will help me. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, you can do it. Oh, no, you can't. You're not allowed. You gotta, no.
Thank you. I had to get rid of them. Yeah, it feels better. Hi, guys. This is brand new. It's like a fresh relationship. How you doing over here? Yeah, this feels good. Feels nice. Yeah, it's your space. Awesome. So the question was, can you repeat it one more time? Because all I heard was screaming.
All right, so since you were working with the Fast franchise, I know it wasn't that long because, you had to get shot.
Yeah.
But did you grow to appreciate a certain car company while working with those cars? And do you have a car collection yourself?
I have my car, which is a Dodge Challenger. It's a beautiful car. It's silver. It's an RT that I got with my dad, so it's pretty special to me. I don't have a big car collection. I've got some toy cars. Huh? I could. Takes a lot of money. Takes a lot of time. But particularly money, right? One day it'd be cool to maybe have 2 cars. Maybe, but who knows? Yes, sir.
What do you feel about two-step and anti-lag?
About two-step?
Two-step competitions.
Excuse me. So Good question. The two-step competition, which we do at the Import Face-Off shows, which I had not really heard of until going to these things, right? But basically, it's where two cars pull up and they just, put it in park, of course, and then everybody gets around the cars. It's very Fast and the Furious, like, oh, ooh, everyone's talking some trash. And they compete to basically, like, pop the engine and just rev it until the car goes pop, 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 right? And it's very loud. And it's very intense because the cars are like, it's, mom has a hard time. Yeah. But they're fun if you're into that kind of thing. I would, yeah. Import Faced Off does it right. And I've been doing a lot of these shows. Hector, Noel G comes out to these things as well. He was in the original and number 7, I believe. And he's a lot of fun. So, yeah, come check him out, for sure. Hi, guys. It's nice and quiet. I like it. Hi.
Is there a certain type of character that you haven't been able to play or haven't been offered yet that you would love to play? You talked a little bit about, into like paranormal research.
Sure.
Is there something that, a certain character maybe that you would love to play?
Is there something, what was the last question?
Just like, is there a character you haven't played yet in a film or a television show that you would love to play?
Oh, sure. An alien. Yeah, I've always wanted to play an alien, but huh? Both. I would want to play an alien. Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome. Just so you know, that's what was your name? Tanya? That's Tanya's space over there, but you're good. I'm just kidding. We made a joke. Welcome. How are you guys? Awesome. Good. Welcome to our crew of awesomeness. Yeah, right on. We kind of match a little bit. Your hair, yeah, thank you. I want to play an alien, and it could be a very bad, nasty, sort of like all kinds of like makeup and cool, like, that would be cool. But I want to play an alien like there's a movie called Starman with Jeff Bridges. And it was made in the 80s, and it's one of my favorite movies ever. And he plays an alien coming to Earth and falling in love, and he's on the run, of course. And it's just a spectacular movie, one of my favorites. If you get a chance, if you want to watch a fun 80s movie called, it's great. But something like Starman. Where the alien has to find his way, where there's something off about him, because I play off pretty well. Yeah.
Did you watch the follow-up TV series of Starman?
I did not, and that came out not close around that time, right? Actually, I did watch it, but it never like resonated with me. You know what I mean? Because it was like the movie was just like and I believe he was nominated for an Oscar for that movie. Jeff Bridges was. That's how good he was at playing an alien. Oscar-nominated alien. Yeah.
All right, we have a question over here.
Sure.
What was your favorite part of becoming Ash?
Ooh, great question. How many Supernatural fans do we have in the house? Oh, look at you. Beautiful. Ash, when you get an audition, sometimes you know right away. And I had gotten the breakdowns that you get and the sides, and they gave the character description, and in my mind I knew right away. I'm like, I'm gonna get this. I told my buddy, I'm like, this is mine. So I worked on it, and I went to the audition, and there was a lot of dudes there. There was a lot of guys. And I knew that Ash had to be a big deal, because in Ash's mind, he's the biggest deal there is. And so I went in with a sleeveless shirt, and it was a flannel, and everybody was in the room, the producers and whatnot, casting. I went in, hi, nice to meet you. And they're like, whenever you're ready. So in my mind, I'm like, thank you so much. I had to do something big. So I turned around, And I unbuttoned my shirt all the way down, and I started the scene, and I came around, and I whipped my shirt open, and I was just chest, all bare chest. And I started way up here, and they all started busting up laughing, and that was it. I got the call later that night, and I'm like, yeah, just kind of felt it. And yeah, he's got grand entrances, so I knew he had to be grand. And then, of course, getting to put on the mullet, which was about an hour and a half process. Takes a long time to look that good. Listen, I don't make the rules, And the mullet would go on, and everybody would lose it. I mean, they would just lose it because I disappeared. And that's why it was disappointing to not come back much later on, because it would have been just like, it would have been like amazing. I don't know, time and where they wanted to go with the show. It's like, there's so many factors, right? But yeah, it would have been fun to come back in sort of like this light and have it be like just grandiose. Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like they were it was going to happen, but COVID, and I think it just kind of shifted, because I did see a photo of the Roadhouse, but from the inside, but it was like this grand opera hall. It was huge. So I think possibly they were going to bring back many of the characters for the end. And then, of course, we had got in the middle of the pandemic, and then things changed. But yeah, so we had an amazing time shooting, and then, but this was before it became what it became. Now it's a global phenomenon. We were in season 2. And, it was still building its audience and finding its way. And I think the Roadhouse they didn't know how to deal with it at the time. And I remember they were building Ash's lair. We were going to be able to see the inside of Ash in his world. I remember them building the sets. And then, of course, things shifted. And I just don't think they knew what they wanted to do with the Roadhouse. So, of course, what do? You burn it down. You burn it down, baby. And then, of course, you saw Ash's watch. Spoiler alert. Right. In season 2, which at this point, I'm like, we should have shown like Ash just getting like burned. If you're gonna do it, like just show like just like going to town, the mullet burning. Actually, the mullet doesn't burn. The mullet stays. You know what I mean? And then a light shines through. Beautiful, touching. That's where it belongs. That's what should have happened. And then I died, of course, and this was before Twitter. Then Twitter happened, and I started making a lot of noise. And if you follow me on Twitter, I make a lot of noise. I do. I have a lot of different accounts, but if you want to follow my noise, Twitter is where I push it. And I got fans riled up, and because they got riled up, they had me back on season 5 for an episode called Dark Side of the Moon, which was a really cool episode. And another spoiler alert, Ash is now in heaven, and will always remain in heaven, I suppose. So yeah. But more so than the actual shooting, which was amazing, and actually doing the show and working with Jared and Jensen, 2 of the nicest guys in the world. Samantha Ferris, who's one of my favorite people, who played Ellen. We had a blast, but beyond Supernatural, that experience has been the fandom and what it became, and all of the traveling and conventions that I've been able to do all over the world. Some of the most amazing places that I would never have dreamed of going because of Supernatural, because of the global phenomenon that it is. Like, there's absolutely nothing like the Supernatural fandom. And if you're a part of it, you understand why. It's the most committed, the most loyal, and also it's called a supernatural family, really, you know. And so for me, they've also, you guys have also been there for like life stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I live very publicly on social media, and there's been things over the years, a lot of family stuff, and you guys have been there for me, and the supernatural family is just unbelievable. So, yeah, and it has no plans of stopping. It's as powerful as ever. So, it's as powerful as ever. No, so yeah, that's my long answer to Ash and what it's like to play. It would have been fun to do it again, sort of in this like over the top, you know, time that we're living in. That would have been fun. But yeah, rest in peace. Yeah, buddy.
All right, I got a question that might upset some people about Supernatural. Are you a Dean kind of guy or a Sam kind of guy?
Oh. Wow, no offense here. Good question. You know, if I need someone who's very compassionate and very gentle and might just hold me at night, that might be Sam, right? But if I want someone to take me out for a beer, I don't drink, but if I did, you know what I mean?
But you also got to remember the way that Dean was looking at you in the Roadhouse.
How was he looking at me?
Oh, you could go all over the place with that.
You think, though?
Huh?
You think?
Yeah.
Or you think, though? You think that's the intention?
I think he might be the one to hold you at night.
Ooh.
He was really into the mullet.
Listen, my answer is this. I'm a both. I'm a lover, man. You know, I'm really no pro one person. I'm pro everybody. Just love. So
I don't think Dean would have cheated on Castiel.
Cass. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Thanks.
You said you did ghost hunts?
Yes, I do.
What got you into that? Like, just curious.
Well, yes. So for those of you who might not know, the paranormal is my other profession. Basically, it's how I've currently, and I've just started to get back into it again, is I take people out on ghost hunts to really haunted locations. And we talk to the spirits. We talk to what's there. I facilitate conversations between the living and the dead. And I have been fascinated with life my whole life. Well, I'm fascinated with this. I'm fascinated with humans. I don't think this is normal. I think it's really weird being a human being, right? Because millions of years ago, giant lizards were a thing. And we know that's a fact. You know what I mean? If we saw a dinosaur, we would all go into a shock, right? Okay, so we can agree that that's a real thing. That happened. Okay? Millions of years ago. Okay, fast forward. And now this weird thing. What are we? You know, I think a lot of the times we take it for granted and we assume we've got our emails and our social media, we've got our life situation. But beyond that, I think it's a very strange thing, and I think it's a very strange world, and it rocks me every day. So I have been fascinated with all the weird things that, on top of being human, like ghosts, you name it, aliens, all of this. But the paranormal is something that I've always gravitated towards. When I was very young, we ended up living in a haunted house that was it was an old couple that had to move out of this home. No, the wife died there, but the husband had to move on, if I'm correct. And we moved in. It was me, my sister, mom and dad, and the woman that died there was not very happy with us. What I can remember, the earliest paranormal experience I can remember was waking up. It had gotten so bad that we were all sleeping in the living room together, and one night all of the pots and pans flew out of the cupboard, all into the kitchen. And sure enough, we ran into the kitchen, and the pots and pans were everywhere, and Mom screamed out, "That's enough!" And surely that was enough. We moved shortly after that. I got really, really sick. A lot of bad things happened in that time. That was a crazy thing, those pots and pans, right? So then I stuffed it for a long time. We never talked about it. Actually, strangely enough, you never talked about that kind of stuff, right? And fast forward many years, I started watching all the ghost shows because I love the ghost shows. I gravitated years ago towards a show called Ghost Adventures. What? Well, I back in the day, I would stay home and watch every episode and study these guys. And I forget when it was. It was like maybe 10 years ago. I reached out to Zach on Twitter, and I said, I'm a huge fan of your show, and if you would ever consider having me on your show, I'd be honored. And they did. It's a episode called Return to Linda Vista Hospital. You can look up and watch it. Yeah, so they had me to an old hospital, abandoned hospital called Linda Vista Hospital. And it's a very, very scary place. Now they've made it into senior living, so go figure. I don't know. That's a whole other conversation. They had me on the show, and that night changed everything for me. Of course, my name came through on the gadgets or whatnot, but the most profound thing was getting scratched that night, and I didn't feel it when it happened, and it wasn't until maybe a couple days later, at best, I had felt this burning sensation on my back, and my ex-girlfriend at the time goes, "Baby, did you get scratched?" And I'm like, fuck, this has been burning. I gotta go check it out. And I ran into the bathroom, I'll never forget it. And there were 3 scratches on my neck, and 2 that went sideways like this, and then 1 that went straight like this. So whatever scratched me had a weird little effed up claw, right? And the best way I could describe it was like thin hypodermic needle scratches. Because I can do this all day long, and it's not gonna make it bled. But I didn't feel it when it happened, and I knew when it happened, or in the vicinity of the time when it happened, because we had gone to another effed up building. And and so that moment changed everything for me, because you could look at it 2 ways and be like, oh, that's evil, that's a demon. Well, I don't think so. I think whatever it was, I look at it like a gift, because whatever it was, I couldn't see it, was powerful enough to penetrate my skin. That's bananas. That is so bananas to me. So I took it like, okay, well, what else is there? And you keep going down the rabbit hole, and now that's how I live my life. In a lot of ways, I look at it that way. I've had so many weird experiences. And so from there, I just started getting invited. Once the show came out, I started meeting all these people. I started getting invited to really cool locations, meeting everybody in the paranormal field. And I don't know, just doing it because I loved it. And then Nick Groff, one of my best friends, he was on Ghost Adventures for a long time. He called me one day and said, I want you to be the star of a paranormal show that I'm doing. And I'm like, well, you gotta be kidding me. This is like everything I've ever wanted. And he's like, well, we're gonna lock you into places by yourself overnight. Would you be cool with that? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Well, one thing led to another, and it got real. And sure enough, the show was called Ghost Stalkers, and they would take me and another guy named John Tenney, who, look him up, especially if you're on Twitter. He's one of my favorite, weirdest individuals you'll ever come across, one of the most fascinating guys you'll ever meet. They took him and me, and they put us in really haunted locations by ourselves, and one guy would go in one night alone, and the other guy would go in the other night alone, while the other one sat in an RV and watched the other one on a checking camera. But I would go in with a couple of cameras and a flashlight, and I would stay in there overnight by myself. And if you're looking for something, especially it's Halloween time, you want something a little entertaining, and you want a good laugh, type in Ghost Stalkers, download it, and watch it. It's me out there rocking and rolling with some of the most scariest things I've ever come across in my life by myself. I'd have conversations with Mom before I went into these places, and I'd say, "I love you, Mom," like I was never going to come out. It was terrifying. And then from there, I take people out. I travel around to different locations. I take people out on ghost hunts, and I want people to be able to experience that magic, because when something happens to you, you never forget it, and it changes you, because you're forced to ask yourself, well, what's next, or what else is there? So I've been talking to quite a few people in the area here, and we're discussing doing a couple of different charity events out here, a couple of places that need help, a couple of haunted spots. So awesome. So definitely, follow me on social media only because that's where I post dates, and like Twitter and Instagram mainly for information. So, but I would love to see you guys come out for that, because I'm a lot of fun, I promise. And if the place is haunted, they will come talk to me. So yeah, that's kind of where it all began and where we're at with it. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Looks like we're out of time, but thank you so much, Chad, for spending this hour with us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You're going back to your table, correct? So
that sounds good.
Visit him at his table. Have an awesome time. Enjoy the rest of the con, please.
Yeah, thank you guys for showing up, man. I do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Thank you for just caring. So thank you. Cheers. Yeah, man. Thank you.
This is John Glover, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Lionel Luther recommends it. Have some fun. Follow your fandom.